One of the things that strikes me is a contrast in your life. That is, contrast on the one hand between what you do professionally. On the other hand, you're a father. You're a single father with a son. Talk to me about raising a son.
I had a lot of help. I had a great support system. My mother, my sister, his godmother, people like that all the time. But still, these were people. His godmother let me get away with a little more than my mom and sister. But these are people that are like, I'm not gonna watch your kid if you think you're gonna go out drinking with your friends and carrying on like you do. If you gotta work, then we'll help you out. So that kept me in line quite a bit. But if I'd go out and have 3 shows, say Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I'd try to be home Monday to drive on a field trip if I had that commitment or whatever it was to be there during the week. But make no mistake, on Friday and Saturday, wheels came off.
You not only have a son, but now you have at least one grandchild.
Yep, one granddaughter. Just turned 2 on Christmas.
Now, has being a grandfather changed in any way? I mean, I'm looking at Kid Rock, Hellraiser, original quote, American badass. Now you're a grandfather.
With me, even though I do hip hop still, I've kind of done a little more of the country and got the roots in rock and roll, depending on which year you catch me at. So, in terms of the country music, it's definitely kept my hillbilly street cred, up to par. Having a granddaughter at 44 years old.
Well, let's talk about music for a bit. What would you say is the first really big break?
What really was, or what did I think was? Because there were some times when I thought this is a big break when I was 18 years old and got signed to Jive RCA Records, and it was just, I still every step of the way I learned something, and I've heard that cliche, which I believe is very true. If you learn from your mistakes, you just keep moving forward, and it makes you a better person. And I'm the living proof of that, because there was mistake after mistake, or learning curve after learning curve from the time I was 17 years old. I thought my big break was with Jive RCA, and then working with Too Short and D Nice, and then touring with Ice Cube and Too Short. And then I came home from all that, and I got dropped, and I had like $2,200 in my pocket. So I went right to the music store and bought a piece of equipment. I was broke again. Moved back in with my parents, and then from there I started putting out independent records. My real big break was when I signed with Atlantic Records. That was when I was 18, when I was 27 years old, and got a check. I started making money. And the following year, made tons of money. And the next year, made more money than I ever thought I'd make. And so there's a lot of time in between there and before there, but I would kind of look at those 2 things as big breaks. But I thought it was a big break when I got a gig at the VFW Hall in Mount Clemens when I was 15 years old. Every time I did something, I thought, this is huge. I'll never do anything bigger than this. And then, cut to, I'm sitting there at some point a few years ago, and there's like every living president in front of me, and I'm singing Born Free, and I'm like, because, every step of the way, and I've done a lot in between that and when that happened, that I'm like, this will never get any weirder.
Well, that leads to something fairly deep, and that is, who are you? I mean, down deep inside yourself, who are you?
Oh, somebody likes to have fun. Who likes to treat people kind, have a great time, stands up for what he believes in at all costs. And yeah, I like to jerk people's chains a little bit. It's just fun for me too to have, I have a double wide trailer up there, but I got a dude who drives me around in a Rolls Royce with a Waffle House plate on it. And I think that's awesome. I crack myself up with that. I'm like, this is, I mean, start playing the Star Spangled Banner right now. It's more American than that. All right.
You've had so many hits, so much success. I can't go down a whole list, but I'm interested in the process that brought about these songs. Let's start with Picture and the duet with, among others, Sheryl Crow. Tell me the process that brought Picture to popularity.
A genuine friendship and honesty between us right from the start. My mom was with me at the Grammys one year, and Sheryl came up and said she loved my first record. My mom, just kept telling me that Sheryl Crow's a neat gal. She's a neat, talented gal. And so we started talking and, had a lot in common. I just said, hey, would you like to come to Detroit and make some music, hang out? She was like, sure, I'll call you when I get back from London. and it was, she kind of set the example too, which I thought, well, everyone calls you back and shows up, which we know doesn't happen in this business. But my first one was a hit, slam dunk right out of the park. So she showed up, we did some karaoke, we hung out. I had the first verse of that song lying around for a while, and then I was sitting there with her, and I was like, man, I got this song. And I tried to give that song to Willie Nelson years before on a CD I did with him. But Bernie Taupman wrote a song for us, and the producer thought it wasn't very good. So I wrote the first verse, and I had it sitting there, and I thought, looking at her, she was sitting there, I go, man, I've never written anything from a woman's perspective. So I finished the song off with her sitting next to me and kind of wrote from a woman's perspective, picking her brain, you know, which is basically, you know, women can do the same things as guys can do to them.
Now, the song, Bawitdaba. And I got it, let the record
Sound
show,
like Fred
I got it out of the
It's Bawitdaba.
Well, how did that come about?
That was an accident. It was actually, you know, something, the ball with the ball, the bang, that part, which kind of took from an old school rap thing, which with a little more research we found out came from like the 30s and 40s when guys were on the street corner, they called doing the dozens. You get your milk, get your eggs, a ball with the ball, the bang, and dang, and the rappers are making cash money with the ball, the bang, and I'm doing this heavy metal rap, and this song went through like 3 different phases. And so I just started screaming that kind of hip-hop, 1940s, I don't know what you would call it, doing the dozens type thing over it, and started layering it with semitones of vocals. And it came out to be this Gregorian chant of some sort, which meant absolutely nothing. The lyrics mean absolutely nothing. There's little things I hit on in there, but I don't know what the hell I was talking about. I was doing a lot of bad things then. My mind was going all sorts of directions. And I didn't know what to make of it. And then there's songs where I'd go like, that song is really good. Like, that song gives me goosebumps. It gives me that tingle. It's the it thing. This song was just like, damn, this is just weird, man. I don't know what to think of it. And people were coming in the studio going, dude, that's a stadium anthem.
What makes it anthem quality?
Makes people want to drink whiskey and throw things. It's the ultimate rock song. Pisses your parents off when you turn it up loud. Makes old people go, what the hell is that? It's, you know, got all the ingredients to be a great rock song that just made people upset and made young kids want to throw things.
Well, all summer long.
All summer long, an engineer friend of mine who still works with me, Mike Clark, we're in the middle of the Rock and Roll Jesus record, and a lot of it was rootsy rock music, and a lot of it live instruments, very live, a little departure from what I'd been doing, a lot of program stuff. And he brought over this program beat, and it had Werewolves of London sampled on it. Warren Zevon, I was like, oh, cool. And I was sitting there noodling with a guitar, and I started plucking along, and I was like, same exact chord progression as Sweet Home Alabama. Like, almost, if you just change a couple notes, it's almost right there. And if you put an F in there while you're playing it, it's Steve Miller, Go On, Take the Money and Run. Right. And we just started going over every song that you could put in this thing. So I was like, wait, turn it on. I had my guitar player, gun ghetto, we went bump, boom, don't go. And I was like, I don't know, man. I go, this is crazy because I never used to like to go to nightclubs during the big dance music craze that happened. And it was like just sitting there like with lights making you dizzy going on, and, boom, boom. So I was like, oh. But then these mashups started to happen where these beats, these records I grew up with, like the Planet Rock, were now mashed up with the Outfield, you know, and I was like, man, this is awesome. You hear these beats with these classic rock tunes or soul music or whatever it is. And I was like, so that's already been done. So people have taken music and mashed them up. But what I thought I was being the most original person on the planet, which I might take, you know, I hate to sit here and toot my own horn, but, you know, a lot of critics who didn't like me, of course, are like, he just used those songs and he stinks, he's a ripoff. I was like, no, I took 2 songs, mashed them together seamlessly, and then wrote an original lyric and melody over the top, which to that point had never been done. Just like I'm not sure if anybody had been rapping to country music before I did it, and now you look at all the stuff that I started, which some of it I'll apologize for on camera.
No apology necessary.
But, wow, some of these groups are good.